performance in virtual environments. We are ready to record. Okay. Welcome to our workshop number 7, keeping track of student performance in virtual environments. Definitely, it's our business to have a clear information about the student performance in virtual classroom. For that reason, we have invited Professor Aldemar Torres Cogollo. He has a Master in Educational Technology, EFL teacher, certified ESL teacher with Cambridge University. And if during the presentation you have a question, remember to write it down on the chat, and we will answer it at the end of the session, all the questions that you have after the presentation. So let's welcome him, Professor Aldemar.
Hello, good morning for everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity, for sharing this moment with you. Let me just to share my presentation. So I think that you can now see it. Please let me know if it's working properly.
Yes, Aldemar.
Yes.
Thank you. So basically, what I want to do is to think a little bit about these virtual environments or virtual, let's say, classrooms or virtual education that we are working on right now. And I wanted to think about it to make some kind of reflection based on 10 questions. So as the presenter said, if you want to ask a question, you can do it at the end. But I think that it's also possible that you make any comment during the presentation. And at the end of the questions, or at the end, I try to answer the questions, okay? There are just 10 questions. Obviously, it's possible that we can find more and more questions about this, but it's more like a reflection about this new kind of, let's say, life, and in this case, educational situation that we're living because of this pandemic, okay? So let's get started with this. 10 questions we should be able to answer, okay? I think that this is the first question. The first question is, how many students will be connected? So I think that this is a question that we should try to answer every time that we are going to start a class or we're going to start a meeting with our students. Because let's say in our real environment in public education, we have between 35, 40, even though 45 students in a classroom, but we know that not all of them will be able to connect with us. So the question there is, if we're going to have half of the class, we're going to have just 25% of the class, we're going to have 100% of the class, and then we have to think about that. What to do with the ones that are here with us, here connected, what to do with the ones that are not there, with the ones that maybe will work in a asynchronous way, and what strategy we can use with them. If it's going to be the same strategy, if it's going to be the same platform, if it's going to be the same homework, or whatever we think. For that, and the next question I have here, or I present to you here, a Menti, which is a very nice tool that we can use online to keep students' engagement during the class. So later on, after the next question, I'm going to send to you the link, and then you will be able to answer or give your opinion about this. For example, in my case, if I'm able to be connected with, let's say, 30% of my students. And those students who might be like a 13 or 14 students, and all of them enjoy the class, all of them like learning about English or learning English. So for me, it will be easier to engage them because they are motivated, because they are not a large number of students. So I can ask them in any moment of the class to intervene or to give their thoughts or to read something. So in that process, or in this case that I have few students, I will be able to be in contact all the time with them, and with most of them, not to say all of them, but it's possible that their participation will be all the time during the class, during 45-minute session or 50 minutes or 1 hour. I don't know. It depends on or at school. But if I have, for example, 40 students connected or 30 students connected, it's not easy to engage them, all of them. So I need to use something extra in which they can give me some feedback. One of the best ways, or one of the easiest ways, is just by writing something on the chat box of the, it depends if it's Teams, if it's Meet, whatever platform you're using. So this is the first question. We should think about this. We should start thinking about this. So Mentimeter, as I said, is a platform or is a website that can help us a lot with this. It has to make questions. You can multiple choice questions. You can do even word clouds. You can even do like short exams. And it's very helpful. I highly recommend to use this. The second question is, how often do I need to check students present in class? So as we know, we don't have to be all the time asking students to participate, or we don't need to be all the time thinking about if my student is there. I don't know if you have that experience that just asking for a name, for example, let's say in English, John Doe or Juan Carlos or Maria, whoever. Are you there like a spiritual session? I don't know if that has happened to you. I'm sure that most
All the
probably,
time, Aldemar, all the time.
most probably you have faced that situation, and you are asking for any, I don't know, any student that you know that he or she likes to just to be there in a virtual, but he's not really attending, he's not really paying attention to what you're saying. So we have to think about how often do we need to check students present. If it's going to be at the beginning, if it's going to be the whole class, if it's going to be just the middle of the class. So that's a question that we need to answer, and we need to be prepared for that. Obviously, it depends on the class, it depends on the group, it depends on the school, it depends on the number of students we have or will have. So that's the second one. So in this process of preventing this, most probably you will have
Sorry,
to pay.
Aldemar, sorry, I interrupt you. I don't know if you're gonna change the presentation. We are only, you are in the first presentation. You haven't changed the
Okay, I don't
presentation.
know what happened. Let me see
Okay,
what's going on.
okay.
Now, can you see it?
Yes,
Okay. Can you tell me what is there? What's the question? 10 questions we should be able to answer, is there?
yes. That is the presentation that
And
we
now,
have.
number one.
But yes, the 10 question we should be able to answer, but no the questions. I guess you have to move to the
Okay.
next
Okay, I don't know
slides.
what's going
Okay,
on.
there.
Now
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, now we have number one. Yeah.
Okay, I think that maybe we can work like that. Okay, so that was the first one. The first question we were talking about. I mentioned something about Mentimeter. There are plenty of opportunities. There are many ways to share or to get information, get some feedback from our students with Mentimeter. I highly recommend to use it. It's not that easy, and also has a free option. Everybody loves whatever is free. And but I think the free, if I'm not wrong, it's limited. It's limited to a number of pools that you can do. There are surveys that you can do in Mentimeter. But anyway, you can use it. The second question was, or is this, how often do I need to check students' presence in the class? We're talking about it. And the next one is this, because, okay, thinking about this, we have to prevent boredom. It's very easy for students to get in this situation because we were or we are not still used to doing this, working this way, in this like kind of virtual life. Another is to prevent insatisfaction, as these members say, how was online teaching? Well, this is a river of my tears. So sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you, you finish the session, you finish the class, and you feel that it doesn't work that well to you. There was something, or there is something missing, or there was something missing to the class. So to prevent this, we can use these tools, or we have to think about this. And obviously, everybody, every student, well, let's say every teacher expect happiness and excitement during the class or during the session, a virtual session. Every teacher expects that students will be like this one with their hands up and they're really happy to participate and to be in contact with us, which is sometimes true, but not all the time it's going to be like that. So the question number three is, do I need an evidence of student learning in every class? Why do I ask this? Because students, every time that you ask them to do something, they tell you, the teacher, this is going to be a grade. So they need like a motivation, or grades seems to be their motivation all the time. So we have to think about if the evidence or whatever we ask them to do during the learning process is going to be a grade. I think that most of the time that won't be like that, or it won't be like that. But we have to think about this because students all the time ask you about that. And if we think, or if we take a grade for every class, we're gonna have, I don't know how many grades for one term, for one semester, for one period. I don't know. But I think that also it depends of many hours you take with the, or you have with your kids or with your classes. For example, if you have 4 hours weekly, maybe you can have just one of those sessions to have an evidence of what the students are doing or are doing during the class within the session. The next question, the number 4 is, what tool will I use to check students' learning process? So there are many tools that we can use. We can use tools called apps, applications. We can use websites, place. We can use like a Mentimeter. We can use Jamboard. We can use Padlet. We can use, I don't know, like just a resource online, an online resource like a Agenda Web, which is very famous. We can also use live worksheets. It's very helpful, by the way. I highly recommend it because you just upload the, I don't know, the workshop or the exam, whatever you want to upload there, and then students will be able to do it during the class or after the class. And we have to think about that. It's not the same because sometimes if you ask them to download an application, you have to think about the struggle of them using or trying to get or log into the application or into the website. Some websites ask you to create like a username, and then it's not easy. it might not be easy for them to use it. So that's another aspect, that's another question that we should be able to answer. So here there are some examples of word clouds that are useful or that we can use. Mentimeter is one of them, Wordly it's another one, and word art. Maybe I know that you have most probably used Mentimeter or maybe Wordly, but I don't know if you know word art. So I'm going to try to go to word art, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to show you how it works. So this is the page. I'm going to show you just a minute. There you have it. Creating the account is not that difficult. I think that can you see now word art? Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, teacher.
It's not difficult. It's very
Yep.
simple. You don't have to think about too much, and you can send to your students the link, and they can help you to create the word art. It's very useful, for example, when we're working with vocabulary, when we are asking students to participate in any kind of, let's say, their thoughts about any situation, very simple situation, by the way, and students like because they will see their words or their representation or their responses there immediately, and it's online. We're gonna do a little exercise later, okay? So I'm going to send to you in order that you can see how Mentimeter works. So give me a minute while I get and I share with you here on the chat box of just a minute. And I think it's here. Let me send to you. Is there? So that's a Mentimeter that I wanted to do it work right now because it has two questions, just two questions. It's a very simple two questions. One of them is the first one, if I'm not wrong, and the other has to do with the percentage of students that you have, well, that you have had in your classes during your virtual classes. Okay, so I'm going to go to this Mentimeter. I'm going to show you how it works. So let me just a minute while I get my presentations. And I can explain a little bit about this immediately, okay? So this is the Mentimeter. I think that you can now watch it. Can you see now? I think that it's working properly.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, so you can see here that you can add slides. I just wrote two. The ones how many students are usually connected. So you will have see here that maybe this is our, okay, we have over 35% of students. Wow, congratulations. And between 50 and 75 is even high, is a high record, it's a high number of students connected. If you work, I don't know, nobody has between 25 or nobody has between 25 and 50%. And the second question is, if do we need an evidence of learnings in every class? I don't know if you have, and then I can see, I don't know if you can see here, but I can copy this, the link, and then I can share this question to you. And it's very simple, it's not difficult at all. and you have a lot of ways to communicate with your students immediately and to receive feedback from them. Okay, so I'm going to leave here on the chat box the other ones. I don't know if you have, I think it's the same link. It's the same link. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue with the presentation. Let me go to the, okay, here we are. So let me go down a little bit. I think this is the fourth question. We were talking about word art, and then we have here question number 5. Sorry, question number 5 is will be if it will be an app, a website, a platform, or just an online resource. So I brought up this a little bit. As you can see, there is a big difference between using an app like Duolingo or maybe Grammar for the British Council, which are very good ones that I highly recommend to you. A different ones if we use the British Council website to engage students, okay? Or if it is a platform or just an online resource. So an app is, for example, Duolingo. But Duolingo has an extra key because you can keep a track of your students immediately, and you can keep up their use of their application at the moment, live, as we say. So I'm going to show you a little bit how I can work with Duolingo, and I have here the way Duolingo works. Give me a minute, just a second, how Duolingo works. Duolingo for a school is called actually Duolingo for schools. So give me a minute. So with Duolingo, what I do, obviously, is that I'm able to have all my students there. Okay, I'm able to have all my students there. I'm gonna show you my just a minute. Okay, here. So I'm gonna show you how it works. I think here. Okay. Okay. This is my page. I have Duolingo here, so I go to Duolingo here, and then I have access. I don't know if you can see that I have access to my students' assignments and the groups. I don't know. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, you can see 10B,
Yes, we can see.
8C. I have here from my school, Maracano, but I also have here from ITSA. So I have, we can see the score that they have. We can see, we can have assignments for them. Okay, it has many options. Okay, we also have curriculum. So you can be all the time seeing what the students are doing. So I highly recommend to use this Duolingo. And students are able to download it. So that's an application, but you can see online. You can see a student's performance online right now, this live, as we say. But there are other there are like websites, like a handout web that you can use, or maybe live worksheets, the one that I just mentioned. Let's continue with the presentation. So here. Okay. So it's not the same an online resource. It's not the same a platform. It's not the same a website. I also use, let me tell you, Google, these other websites and applications. This one is grammar from the British Council. Let me tell you that is very good one, but you cannot keep track of your students, but it's a really good one to use. Another one is learning BBC Learning English. It's another application which is very good one. I highly recommend to use any of those three. And we have some other websites here, like Agenda Web, like I said, Live Worksheets, which is pretty good one. I'm going to show you a little bit about it. ISL Collective. ISL Collective is more like a resource center. So you can find a lot of resource for you. We have also ESL Games Plus. You have many games there to play with students online. And we also have Learning English VOA News, which is a website I think is supported by the American government, and they have a lot of resources and material that you can use there. And Flipgrid, which is pretty good, Flipgrid is about uploading videos, and students are able to show you or to present to you any video there. So I'm going to show you a little bit about live worksheets. It's not that difficult, and it's very simple to use, okay? Very simple to use live worksheets. So here we have live worksheets, okay? Here is the page. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see that here. You see my email, altoco7320, and then you have here something that is called mi buzón de correo. So there you have the answer of the students, and because the program or the web page give you the answer and give you the grades immediately. And we as teachers, we love every tool or any tool that will be able to give us this kind of feedback. Just they're great. So you can see here. And students really like it. It's very simple to use. Okay. And we also have, I also mentioned to you, the Flipgrid. So I'm going to show you a little bit of Flipgrid. I don't know if anybody here knows about Flipgrid or has used Flipgrid. I think if you have used it, you are you feel that it helps a lot. Okay, I'm going to show you. Can you see now Flipgrid? Can you see Flipgrid now? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr.
Okay, okay, I
Yes.
have three groups. I don't know if you can
Yes,
see three groups
it's
here.
very useful tool.
Yeah, it's very nice because, you know, sometimes we ask students to do something with the video and they say, teacher, can I send the video to your WhatsApp? And then we have our cell phones full of videos, and those videos are heavy, okay? And sometimes it's not good, or maybe you don't have that cell phone that has a very, let's say, a number of memory or a high memory, and then so you can use it here, and it says, for example, hello, I am, and then my students can do something. You can see Aldair, Breler, and they have the video there. They upload the video, and it's very useful. I highly recommend to use this. Okay. So let's continue. Okay, let's continue. I think it's here. So the other ones, like ISL Collective, are more ISL resources, ESL game resources, and learning English VOA learning resources. So let's continue with this. Will be easy to use for them? Okay, we have to think about this question. Will they be able to use the application easily, or they will have some kind of struggle with it? They struggle to do it. Is something that we have to think about previous the class or previous to send the link, to send whatever, because it can be complicated for them. And students love saying, teacher, I don't know how to get into the website. Teacher, I can't get into the website. Teacher, they even tell you, teacher, I can't find your email. And your email is on the workshop that you just gave to them. So we had to think about this previously. So as you can see here, this is a meme that I just, and another one is this meme. Okay, students love to be like that, but they sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. They just prefer to avoid it. So will I use it at the beginning or during the class, at the end of after the class, or during the term? For example, it's not the same to use as a warm-up or to use it as a wrap-up of the class, or as an exit ticket, which is very usual. Or if it's something that you're going to do during the term. For example, you can use Duolingo during the term, and it can help you a lot. Or you can use it at the end of the class or after the class, like Flipgrid, which is a tool or a website that you can use at the end of the class as a homework. Because in this way, I'm going to talk about a little bit about what is a formative assessment and summative assessment. So formative assessment is more like something that can help us to identify students about their strengths and weaknesses, okay? And we can recognize if the students are struggling or have problem with something, with any topic or any of the ideas, okay? Some of the examples are here. Draw a concept map, that submit one sentence define the main point of a lecture, turn a research proposal for early feedback, or maybe the ones that to write down like a survey, the ones that it's said with Mentimeter, or maybe to a word cloud, something like that. It's more like a formative assessment. While summative assessment is more like something when we evaluate student learning at the end of the instructional, and we have like any kind of comparison with the standard. We can do like a midterm exam, we can do a project, we can do a paper or written work, okay? Or maybe a presentation or a representation. That's different. You have to think about it, we have to think about it. Question number 8 is more like which skill will I be able to test? So we have 4 skills that we need to develop or to help students to develop, and we need to think about if it's going to be an oral, if it's going to be a written, it's going to be a listening. So it's not the same. Sometimes we as teachers, we just focus on one. Some schools just focus on students that speak English, speak all the time. And some other schools just focus on the grammar, so just focus on writing. So we have to think about that. It's a question that we should do. We have quizzes, which is very nice, let's say, website where you can do quiz to students. And we also have Kahoot, which is very famous and very useful, not only because it can review some topics, but also because you can play with them, and students love playing all the time. Students love playing. And the other one, the next one is live worksheets. They are just presenting to you. And with live worksheets, there are plenty of things that you can do. Number 9 is how to deal with cheating. I don't know you, but in this question, I actually want to think about that. I'm gonna show you a little bit about Padlet. I have here a Padlet, so I'm going to share to you this Padlet. And then you can give some feedback about this. Okay, this is a Padlet just created, and then you can there write down your thoughts about how to deal with cheating. Have you had that experience of cheating with your students now with these online or virtual sessions? Have you had that experience that you see a homework or any, and you see, I think I might seen this before, or I think I should have, I thought this before. And then you wonder, and then you think, somebody sent this before, but I don't remember. So how do you deal with cheating? How do you stop, or how can you stop students from cheating? So here in this Padlet, you can, or you have, let me show you a little bit. Let me share with you how Padlet works. Or let me, okay. Here. So you see, this is Padlet. You have the opportunity to change the back, the photo at the back, and you go here, and then you write whatever you want to write, and then it will appear here on my on this screen immediately. It's very useful. I highly recommend to use. Okay, I don't know if you have had that experience with Padlet. It can be very useful when you want students to write something in English, or you can ask them to give their opinion about any topic, just a short view or short thoughts about any topic, okay? So I don't know if you can write something here in order that you can practice if you don't know how to use this, or if it's your first time using this. Okay. So I'm going to stop here for a while because, okay, cheating, I face parents with the same works, and I talk about the consequences of values. Okay, this, you see? So you can have here many students at the same time writing, and they like that because they also can write some comments over the writing of a partner, of a peer. So comments over the comments, and it helps a lot, especially when we are encouraging our students to write in English. Remember that writing in a language, especially in English, is not an easy task, and students actually don't like that much. So you can use this. This is more like a website, but it's a interactive website, so you can do it online. It can be online. Let's continue. So that was a little bit about Padlet. And then we have number 10, how this tool will help me to cover all the topics, all the units. So that's a fair question, because as you know, time for us as teacher is, I would say, our biggest enemy. And in this situation with the virtual sessions or classes, is even worse, the situation, or is even worse talking about the time. We have a very limited time, very limited time. I think that in our schools, we have done some kind of cuts with the schedule, with the programs, with the syllabus. We have to think what tools will actually really help me to cover all the units, all the topics, whatever I want to cover during the year or during the semester or the term. It depends, obviously, in our individual experiences. So this is final one. Thank you for your attention. And I would like to ask you if you have any conclusion about the question that I just presented to you, or any of the things or the thoughts that I just shared with you in this session through this Meet. Um, any questions or any, I don't know, any comments about the questions? Or if you have using something, for example, we have Elena de Jesus. She says, I love using Padlet. This tool gives students the opportunity to participate and interact with their peers and teachers in a virtual learning environment. Students can react to their peers' contributions and enjoy enriching activity. Thank you very much. Okay, I have some questions here. I don't know if you want that I just give some feedback to the questions or to the comments.
Here's a question from Carmen Aldemar.
Yes.
Yes, teacher. Teachers Carmen said, do you think this tool will be still useful when they combat in face-to-face classes? It's an interesting question to think about
I gotta tell you, with my right hand in my heart, that this virtual life or virtual reality, to say, has come not to go. We will be all the time. I think that will have help us this situation about the pandemic and to be virtual with our students. This has helped us to become better teachers. That's what I think. I don't know, it's my humble opinion about it. I think that we have faced the struggle of wanting to teach something, but at the same time, we are eager to learn something to help our students to get our goals. I don't know if that answered sort of the question. Obviously, in my case, or from my own perspective, totally agree. Totally agree that we'll have to go and use these online tools with our students. And they like it. Not all of them, not all the tools, but they like it. They like it. They love being in these kind of situations, especially the ones that are live in the class, like a Mentimeter, like a survey, or any other of those that I just presented, like a Padlet, as Elena said here.
Teacher, I consider that the problem will be the contest, maybe the school. If the school is preparing to focus on a virtual education face to face.
Yes, totally. I totally agree with that. It's not the same a school that maybe has the means. It has a very high internet connection, very well internet connection, and students can be in the classroom with their devices, let's call them cell phones, tablets, or computers, and they can be with you all the time. Um, I have the experience with one teacher from the he's working now in the United States, and he said that he goes to the classroom there, but he doesn't receive any paper from the students. They are there with them, and they are working, and he plays, he shows everything on the screen, on the TV or video being whatever, and then students work with them online, but through the internet and through the devices, let's call it computers or tablets. So I think obviously it depends in our context. Let's face it, in our context, some teachers no, some students don't even have access to one cell phone. Sometimes one cell phone is just the cell phone, is the family cell phone. Let's call it like that. It's the family cell phone. So that's another point. That's because I try to write down to reflect something about, for example, what to do with the other students that will not be able to be in contact with me through this. How about with them? So I need to create some asynchronous media, like a Google Classroom, which is very good, by the way. Okay, or maybe, I don't know, in our public situation, let's call it Colombia, let's call it Barranquilla. most of us, we use the platform. If there is a platform in our school, I don't know, Google Classroom, which is a very nice place to receive homeworks, and you don't have to get your computer or cell phone full of material or full of photos or, I don't know, videos or voice messages. And at the same time, uh, email. Email is, it's just one option, and it's one of the best options to receive material. But we're talking here about receiving material. But what about those students who are not able to be like we are here with you face to face? What to do with them? That's a big question. That's a big issue that we have to face. And I think that the government has tried to solve the problem, but you know what happened. Everybody knows what happened with that. So
Yes, teacher Elena say everything has been clear, explained, and very useful. Thank you for most, dear Mr. Torres.
thank you very
Okay.
much, Miss uh, Elena. Thank you very much. I think it's my friend Elena, if I'm not wrong.
Of course, look at the picture.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
Professor Aldemar Torres, it was a really interesting explanation. We are completely sure it's help as a teacher in our daily practice. Okay, if you have some comment and some question, please write down on the chat. I consider a professor that right now is a space to reflect about what happened now and what will happen when we are in our school face to face to the student. I consider that we have to think a lot of about it because maybe in a virtual time we have in our hands the tools, our own devices. But what happened when we returned to the school and we had to teach 40 students in a classroom? How can we combine the virtual? Because right now the students like the different tools. Hey, say, teacher, play Kahoot. Teacher, let's go to Bali. But what happened when the students are face to face? Oh my God. We had to reflect.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yes, not only teachers, not only
Yeah, but
teachers.
also students. Yes.
I think that somebody has their hands raised.
Mr.
Yes.
Leslie Smith.
Thank
Leslie.
you, Miss Elizabeth. There is a
Yes,
teacher who has the reins. And
Leslie Smith.
Miss Leslie Smith, please.
let's
Mr. Leslie, if you prefer, you can write your opinion. You can, okay, you can write your opinion or your comments on the chat,
yes.
please.
Remember, you have any question, write on the chat.
He said, Mr. Leslie said that he can do it. I don't know what's going on. Okay, Mr. Leslie is the first one.
Yes,
Open the mic. Can you open the microphone to Mr. Leslie? I don't know. What do we have
yes.
to do? I don't know.
She can do it.
He can do it.
Yes, he can do it. Maybe if had problem
Or
with the
maybe Mr.
microphone,
Victor.
write the question.
Yes, write the question. You have problem with your microphone, please.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Okay, Victor Manuel Cantillo, please, do you want to say something?
Yeah, more than a question, will say, hello, Aldemar, how are you doing?
Fine, fine. Good to see you around here, Victor. Good
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Well, thank you. More than a question is just a comment. Is the recommendation is to try to be in permanent communication with the students. Is in order when you know really you're the student, you're going to be able to obtain the best of them. So to try to know them and every situation is easier when you know your students and they know you. This is my comment. Thank you.
I totally agree with that. I think
It's
that's one
true.
of the big challenges of being a good teacher. I don't know. You need to know your students, their strength and their weaknesses, both of them.
Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you,
really know
Ronald.
the level of our student in order to know the best tool that you are gonna using, because you don't know really know you the student. You know if the tool that you are using are the best for them, Aldemar.
Yes, totally agree.
Okay. Teacher Eliana Sofia Sala said, excellent speech. Thank you so much, my dear Mr. Torre.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Personally, I consider that this time, maybe the teacher I hear listen to you. We are thinking about what are we going to do when have to get with a student face to face, because we are to continue. You said something, you talked about formative assessment. How important is a formative assessment in our classroom? This is the most important evaluation that we had to do in our student. So
Yes,
how teachers are continue to doing this without, hey, we're forgetting the virtual, the different tools that we had to use. You talked about Mentimeter, Kahoot. Hey, we have a lot of tools to implement with our student. And this is a way to reflect about that. We had to continue using because it's important for education way, for motivate the student, because you say a wonderful word, an important word. I consider it the first clue for learning is motivation. How we motivate a student to learn is a question that we have to do all day. When I finish my class, I had to reflect about it. What happened? It was good. The goal was good. What are we going to do tomorrow with my student? I had to continue my student motivation. So this is a way to reflect. I consider Professor Aldemar very interesting to talk about this way, the different strategy we have to use with our student right now and when we return to our classes, to our school. Okay, thank you
thank
a
you
lot.
very much. Miss Elizabeth or Miss
Elizabeth
Elizabeth,
Vides
please.
want to say something?
Yeah, yes, a comment on what you were saying. How we're gonna continue using this is the big question mark that we have. But I think that as you, we are just going to school right now, face to face. I guess that your schools are in the same condition as the school where I work. I'm going to school with some students face to face, and then it's difficult as at the school where I work. We don't have like all the internet bands, to support students to work with virtual kind of materials or tools. But to my surprise, the group that I am teaching right now, face to face, it's kind of asking for all the material and tools that we use when we were online, right? So, and it was surprising because even those students that don't have a cell phone, they manage to have a cell phone when you tell them, okay, we're going to work with Padlet. Next, we're going to do a writing activity. Can you bring a cell phone? And they just look for somebody to lend them a cell phone and then go to class face to face. Maybe just, have somebody on their plan. And then have internet to participate in the activity. So I think that this kind of a revolution of everything. It doesn't matter if we are coming from very low income schools, still students need that, right? Because it's kind of what they are doing right now. So, and I think that it's great that on behalf of the teachers that we have grown on using all these tools that Aldemar kindly has shared with us. I mean, in order to control students' participation in our classes. I think that that's this a great kind of kind of collecting these sets of tools. That's what I wanted to say. That's still the face-to-face student that I have at school. They really want to continue using some online activities there, and they managed to do it. And I think that we can just, as I think that most of us are public school teachers, we can just tried to make a big wave, and then to the LIAs, so that they can collaborate to school, so the students can continue with these tools, right? That is good for their learning. It's good for everything that we want to basically expect to have, on behalf of the students' outcomes when it comes to teaching English. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you. And very good, Aldemar. Congratulations. I really like it.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Okay, if we have any question, we can conclude our meeting today says with the Elena's comment. Say, awesome. Thank you for sharing such accessible information to enrich our teaching experiences. Putting into practice all these great tools will help us increase your student motivation and engagement. Yes, teacher Elena, you are all total the reason, because this space I consider is what's important for all, for teacher, because right now we are thinking about what will happen the next year, or maybe the next month. I don't know. We have to prepare for some of that. Professor Aldemar, thank you for your attendance, for being in our third symposium. We appreciate all that we teach today.
Thank you very much. Remember that we as teachers, we are endless students.
Mr. Leslie, I think Mr. Leslie.
Yeah, sorry.
Leslie
He has
Smith.
a comment. He wrote,
Not present, not yet, Mr. Leslie. Thank you.
He wrote,
Thank you.
abandoning of
Yeah.
digital natives. They are not, our students are not digital natives, also digital Bluetooth. Okay. I don't know if
Yes.
you want to say something, Mr. Lilibeth. Elena said thanks. Okay, thank you very much, Aldemar.
Thank you very much. Okay. Always learners, always learners.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have to be
Bye-bye.
accountable.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for your attendance.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming in our third symposium. We invite you to the next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, in 2 minutes the room is gonna be closed. Okay?
Listo, Samira. Gracias. Que se mejore tu abuelita.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.